Hello everyone, hope you are having a wonderful day today. And remember, you can see this whole video if you're happen to be watching my stories right now. You can watch this whole video on my main page. So today we are talking about Genesis chapter 7. So if you've not already had a chance to read through that chapter, you'll want to do that. And then we're just going to talk about some key points that maybe you haven't noticed before in this chapter. And hallelujah, praise Jesus, the sun is out in East Tennessee today. So I got to ask you guys a question before we go any further. Is anyone else struggling with the weather this week? So I know it's January, I know it's supposed to be cold, but I just cannot learn to like it. And it has been so dreary and so like snowy looking for 3 days straight. So I'm grateful we have sunshine today, but I think there's snow in the forecast. So I may go hibernate for the next 2 or 3 days. Anyway, back to the subject at hand. Today we're talking about Genesis chapter 7. So today, the flood begins. We were talking yesterday about how sin grieves God and how the world had become wicked and God decided it was time to destroy what he had created and basically start over. So the flood waters begin at the beginning of chapter 7. So a lot had to happen for Noah to prepare for this flood that was coming. And honestly, it looks like Noah just put his head down and got to work. And I wish that I could be more like Noah. Have you ever felt like God has laid an idea or maybe a plan on your heart, but you feel like you need to figure out all the specifics and all the details before you ever get started? I know I have. I'm a detail person and I like to have a plan in place. But Noah put his faith in God. He put his head down, listened to exactly what God told him to do, and God had everything covered. How often do we get caught up in the details and never take any action? So kudos to Noah for just trusting God's plan and doing that. And you know, God had everything planned out. When we think about Noah's Ark, we see pictures and replicas of the Ark, and we always see 2 kinds of every animal, which there were at least 2 kinds. But we read in this chapter, it talks about that they actually took 7 pairs of, let's look at verse 2. It says, "Take with you 7 pairs, male and female, of each animal I have approved for eating and for sacrifice, and take 1 pair of each of the others. Also take 7 pairs of every kind of bird." So, to preserve the animals God created, you would automatically assume that you would just need a male and a female. But God knew exactly what they needed. Not only did they need animals to preserve the species, but they also need animals for food, for Noah and his family to eat, and they also needed animals to be used for sacrifices once the flood waters receded. God knew this, and that's why he told Noah to bring more than just a pair of each animal on board the boat. I also want you to look at verse 16. It says, "A male and female of each kind entered, just as God had commanded. Then the Lord closed the door behind them." So my footnote in my Bible says, "Many have wondered how this animal kingdom roundup happened. Did Noah and his sons spend years collecting all the animals?" In reality, the creation, just like Noah, was doing just as God had commanded. It goes back to that whole idea of Noah just trusting God. Noah didn't have to gather the animals. God took care of the details of that job while Noah was doing his part by building the boat. Often we do just the opposite of Noah. We worry about details over which we have no control while neglecting specific areas. such as attitudes, relationships, and responsibilities that are under our control. Like Noah, concentrate on what God has given you to do and leave the rest to God. So as always, I will post some questions for today's chapter, Genesis chapter 7 down below. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. And go ahead and drop in the comments. Do you want it to snow? Yes or no? I'll see you tomorrow.